My name is Sergio, and I am a volunteer with the team at AARP Delaware. I'm so glad that you chose to join us to help you meet your goals and hopefully even help you to eat well and sleep better. I'm excited to join you, and I would like to remind you to please consult your physician before beginning any exercise program. Now, let's ignite our inner champion. We hope you enjoyed today's session and also register for each session every Tuesday and Thursday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. through the end of August. Each 1-hour session features Nick Rybinski, a fitness trainer who will help you find ways to remain physically active at home through a series of exercise routines. Every session will be followed up with nutrition information materials. You'll have the opportunity to take breaks and relax in between bursts of exercises. While you're waiting for the program to begin, let's get familiar with the layout of our virtual stage. Use your cursor to go along the bottom where there are some red buttons. If you hover over each of the buttons, they will tell you what each one does. Check your volume. You will not be on camera. Only the presenter will be on camera, so you don't need to be concerned about video. Find the chat box. You can chat with other people in our virtual room when they are not moving. This is also a place where you can ask the presenter questions. And now, let's get moving. Over to you, Nick.
Thank you, and welcome to Get Fit DE here with AARP. I'm Nick, and I'm going to be helping you out today. As we go through today, I just want to give you a few quick reminders before we get started. If you before starting any exercise program, you always want to consult with your physician, so please make sure that you're healthy and ready to be active. With that also in mind, if for any reason you find that you're out of breath and lightheaded or just can't keep up with the program, feel free to take a quick break and just join us back when you're ready. I do my best to modify to make recommendations to make these movements both easier and harder. So if you find yourself not able to do some of the movements, don't be afraid to again move to that easier modification or obviously to take a break as we go through today's program. I also want to recommend that you sign up for next Tuesday's session. So you can find the links there. We'll be moving to a different platform, but everything should be very, very straightforward. So again, please take a look in the document section. You can find the link so you can sign up for next Tuesday. If you're on Facebook Live, you can find that same link there in the comments section. And we hope you enjoy us on our AARP platform, where obviously you can interact with us, use the chat feature, and also get access to some of these documents. For those that are on the AARP platform, please make use of that chat forum. My producers will be sending me over questions that you ask. So if you have questions about health, fitness, or obviously going through some of these movements, please send them my way. I do my best at the breaks to take a look at some of those questions and answer them to the best of my ability. With that, the structure of today is going to be very similar to what we've seen during the past 3 weeks. We're going to be breaking this up into 3 different circuits. Our first circuit is going to be a lower body circuit. Our second circuit is going to be an upper body circuit. And our third circuit that we're going to finish off with is going to be a core or a ab circuit. As we go through each one of these circuits, you'll see that the same layout is going to happen for each one of them. We're going to have 40 seconds worth of work and 20 seconds worth of rest or transition for 3 different movements that we're going to go through 3 times. So that means that we're going to be going for 9 minutes total on each circuit, but we'll have about a 5-minute break in between each one of those circuits. So obviously you have a chance to get water, to reacclimate yourself, and to grab any equipment or anything like that you might need to do. On that, we will be using the floor quite a bit today, so please make sure if you don't already have one, find a nice either rug, yoga mat, or obviously some sort of towel or blanket that you can set down on the ground so that you're comfortable if you're going to be doing this on hardwood or a hard surface. But without any further ado, we're going to get started here with just a quick little dynamic warm-up. Something that I always say I like to just go through a 4 range of motion just to make sure that you guys are feeling good. And obviously, we're ready and prepared for what we're going to be doing with our lower body and upper body circuits during these first 2 circuits. Okay? what we're going to do is we're going to bring yourselves down onto the floor here in a quadruped position. So that means we're going to be on hands and knees. And as we bring ourselves back down to the floor, all we're going to find here is that we're going to go through our fire hydrants, which are those almost hip circles that we've done in previous weeks. Just now we're going to be in this quadruped position as we go through that. And obviously, as you go through, you should find yourself getting a little bit more mobile and a little bit more range of motion as we go through this. So for this, all we're going to do is we're just going to bring our leg over in this little circle position. Okay, so again, what you'll see is my knee almost draws a big circle through the air as I can bring it up and back around. We're going to do 10 repetitions on the one side, and we're going to move to the opposite side and do another 10 repetitions. Then we'll move on to another little dynamic exercise before we get moving into our first second. So let's get started. As we go through this, again, make sure that you're doing this with what feels good for your body. So if for whatever reason you feel like you might have less or more range of motion through this, feel free to take advantage of that. And again, as you go through, really trying to keep it nice and controlled as we go through these little hip circles. Again, you might find yourself opening up just a little bit more as we do this. I'm going to give myself one more. I didn't lose track there. There we go. Awesome. We're going to do 10 on that opposite leg. Again, you don't need it to be exactly how I'm doing it. The purpose of this is to make sure that we're warmed up and ready for today's exercise. So if you feel like you're getting physically warm, and your muscles and your joints are just feeling a little bit better by doing this, then our mission has been accomplished for this dynamic section. Again, just going through these big hip circles here. That opposite leg. Quick little note on this, these are called fire hydrants. I think the name comes from just because you look like a dog that if you pee on a fire hydrant as you go through this. So if you're kind of wondering why they're called that, I think that is why. Let's do 2 more. Awesome. Very good job. Now all we're going to do here is we're going to move on to our bird dogs. So for this, all we're going to be doing here is moving our opposite leg and opposite arm out as we go on the floor. You're going to notice that this is going to be challenging from the core, and it's just going to go through a little bit of range of, or going to use our shoulders to start developing a little bit of extra range of motion with those guys too. So all we're going to do is just move our arms or hands out just like this, holding for another second, and then coming right back. And then we'll do the same thing with the opposite side, and come right back. If you're not comfortable with that quite yet, that's completely fine. Just go one arm out, and then back in, and then go the other leg out, and then back in from there. But if you are comfortable, join with me. So again, I'm going to do my right arm first and left leg. So right arm, left leg goes out, and comes right back in. Try to keep it as controlled as possible. So you'll see your hands being used a little bit to balance as we go through here, and getting them warmed up. Obviously getting our hips and our shoulders warmed up as we go through this. If you can hold it for longer, feel free to do so. I'm going to do 2 more here, so 2 more on either side. This will be our last one here. So on that right side, or right arm, left leg. Now we're going to go left arm, right leg. Awesome. All right. We slowly make our way back up off that floor. For today, we're going to be starting off with our lower body circuit. For this lower body circuit, we're going to go through 3 different movements. Now, obviously, I'm going to break these down to make sure you're comfortable with them. Obviously, we can talk about how we can make this harder, or obviously make this easier for yourself. Our first one that we're going to start off with is one that should be familiar, which is going to be our step-ups. For this, we can find just a small ledge. So again, if you have just a small step in a landing, if you're able to take advantage of stairs nearby, or again, if you just have basically just a small hard surface that you're able to step up onto safely, feel free to do that. So whether that's a stool, some sort of, again, just a flat surface that you feel comfortable stepping up on, please feel free to use that. For this, all we're going to be looking for here, and if you're going to be using this by stairs, or if you have a stool or something along those lines, I definitely encourage you to have something to kind of hold on to. So I kind of got the ceiling up here if I really, really need to. But again, anything that might kind of help you out with balance would be helpful. If you're really, really confident, we can talk about adding weights here in a second too. Before this, what we're going to be looking for is we're going to be stepping. I always say I want to be using my hips here and my glutes. I always say one thing also is squashing above into the steps as we go through this. So again, we're driving that heel into that platform, stepping up, coming right back down, and then we're doing the same exact thing on that other side. If we do this correctly, when we step up, we should see that knee stay outward just a little bit. So again, it should be outward. We shouldn't see that knee kind of caving in like this. So again, we always want to be using this hip here, making sure that we're kind of externally rotating, making sure that knee is staying out as we go through that. Okay? Obviously, to make this harder or more challenging, all we need to do is just to increase a little bit of load. So whether we're using our book bag, like we mentioned before in our previous episodes, loading up a book bag with a handful of books, and again, we can use that on our back, or we can just carry that right in our front as we go through these step-ups. That can work to make this just a little bit more challenging if you're up for that. Obviously, you probably carry things up and down stairs as it is, so again, that might be a good option for you. Or again, we can just totally hold water bottles, books, whatever you kind of have around the house as you go through that too. If you're lucky enough to have hand weights, that works awesome also. All right? And then obviously, again, if you want to make this easier, just having something to kind of hold on to, where you can kind of use that to kind of stabilize your weight there, will definitely help you as you go through. Okay? Now, for our second movement here, we're going to be going through a squat to press or a thruster, so whatever you want to use here. Now, for this, again, we're going to go through 2 different variations, and again, we can talk about loading this up, or again, just keeping this completely body weight. For this, for an easier version of this, we can find a small chair, so this, or just something to kind of sit on it, whether that's a couch, or again, something you just have like, that's probably down a little bit of knee height. All we're going to do here is have our hands right at our shoulders. We're going to do a normal squat like we've done before, setting our butt right back on it, and then we're going to come up and we're going to press overhead. Okay, so we are going to use our arms, our upper body just a little bit. I'm going to cheat you just a little bit there. So again, we're going to come back down, tap that chair, and all we're going to do is drive up, driving those arms overhead. We'll do the same exact thing. If you want to, we can totally use a little bit of weight. Like I mentioned before, water bottles, cans of soup, or again, if you have hand weights and you're lucky enough to have some of those around the house, use those. We can do the same thing, just making it just a little bit harder, going down and coming all the way back up. And if you feel really, really good with that, all we can do is just take that chair away so you don't have that extra support, and we can do that same exact movement, down and then up, if you feel comfortable with that. Again, challenge yourself and make sure it's something that you're going to be able to do safely for that 40 seconds. Right? Now, our final movement here is going to be our leg lifts. And we've done these before, and hopefully this is something that you feel comfortable with. Whether you have a back of a chair, or again, a piece of wall or railing to hold on to, all we're going to do is we're going to do 20 seconds for the one leg and 20 seconds on the other leg, just bringing that leg back, squeezing through that glute, squeezing through the hamstrings, just like so. Back and forth. And we do the same thing on the opposite side, just again, getting that little squeeze there. Now, as we go through that too, a more challenging version tends to be on the floor, doing that same exact movement, back in that quadruped position, kind of like where we were with our throat dog. So, as we go through that, we can do 20 seconds on the one side here, and then obviously 20 seconds on that opposite leg. So obviously just going at your own pace there. If it's easy for you standing up, feel free to come back onto the floor and try those. If you have ankle weights, that can also be a good way to add a little bit of resistance. If you have small bands that you might want to be able to wrap around your ankles, that works also. Again, just make sure it's challenging for you, but also something that you're going to be able to be safe with. Now we're going to get started here in a second, but before we do, I'm going to give you a quick opportunity to get a 60-second water break. Remember, if you need to get any equipment, please make sure you do so. If you need any extra music or any extra crap nearby, feel free to do so. But I'm going to see you back here in 60 seconds. We're going to get started with our circuit, starting off with our step-ups. See you then. All right, welcome back. We're going to get started here with our first circuit. And again, this is going to be 40 seconds of work with 20 seconds of transition or rest time in between. Remember, it's going to be step-ups, then our sit to press, or squat to press, and then our leg lifts. Okay, so again, we'll go through all three of these 3 separate times for a total of 9 minutes. Let's get started here with those step-ups. We're going to go here in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. I'm going to use my water bottles here as hand weights. You can use whatever you want. If you don't want to use any weight whatsoever, that's completely fine. If you want to keep a hand on a railing, feel free to do that also. All we're thinking about doing is driving through that hip, again, kind of squeezing that butt just a little bit, keeping that knee out from me. I have another 15 seconds worth of work here, so let's keep it going. We got about another 5 seconds worth of work. Maybe one more, and come back down. Now I'm going to keep my water bottles in my hands. And again, I'm going to be going back from a chair. If you feel very confident with this, you've done these before, you don't need to use a chair at all. If you feel not confident with this whatsoever, don't feel like you need to use weights. You can just use the weight of your hands. We're going to go here in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So again, sitting back, coming up. So you can get at least 8 repetitions in. That means a repetition every 5 seconds. Good. Keep going here. Try to finish with those elbows right by the ear. I'm saying about pressing your nose to the wall here. And my head kind of comes through. Those water bottles come back just a little bit as you go through. And trying to use the full capacity of our shoulders. Let's do one more here. Awesome. And we bring those right back down. And what we're going to be moving on to now is going to be this leg lifts. So again, I'm going to do mine standing, but if you would like to do yours from the floor, feel free to do so. We're going to go here in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. 20 seconds on that one leg. Again, just squeezing through that hip. You should feel that again through that, those glutes, and a little bit to the back of the legs, those hamstring muscles. If you have a small band, you can attach it around your ankles to make this just a little bit harder if you have one. All right, we're going to switch legs here. Doing the same exact thing, just kicking out that leg. 10 more seconds. Going again, resting again, 2, 1, and relax. Made it through that first circuit, or excuse me, first round of those 3 different movements. We're gonna be back to those step-ups. Going again in about 10 seconds. So prepare here, resituate yourself. Again, if you need to walk over the stairs, feel free to do that. We're gonna go here in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So again, driving through that heel. Making sure we feel nice and confident with whatever we're doing. You kind of feel the weight that you're pressing through, kind of in the center of that foot, almost like where you would tie your shoelaces. That's where you should feel the most amount of pressure. So we don't be too far up on our toes. We don't really want to be too far back on our heels. Again, probably about 2/3 away from our toes. Again, right where we tie our shoes. Center of that foot. 2, 1, and rest. Again, we're going to move back to that squat to press. So I'm going to do this one without any chair. But if you'd like to keep using that chair, feel free to do so. Just remember, we want to try to drive those knees out as we go through. So again, knees are going to stay out as we go through this. And here we go. Again, go at your own pace. There's definitely no ego here. Make sure you feel nice and comfortable as you go through this. See if we can get another 4 of those in. 1, 2, 3. Let's get 1 more in. And 4. Awesome work. All right. We're going to be moving off to those leg lifts. And all of these movements are stuff that you can be doing by yourself. You do not need my motivation to get these done. Feel free to put on music and get these done on the other days of the week. But here we go. Again, just squeezing through the hips. Embracing a little bit through those abs as we go through this. Only successfully do this when we lock down that core. And we're going to switch off to the other leg. Stay with it. We got 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. And squeezing through those hips. 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. Again, if you want to do those from the floor, feel free to do so. Probably going to do that for the next round. We got 10 more seconds, so we're going to be moving back to our step up, so let's start making our way back to wherever we're going to be doing that. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Going through that step up again. Going right back down. Let's go to that other side. Step up, come right back down. And you can go as fast or as slow as you want. I like to try to keep track of my repetitions. And again, just try to either match them or beat them each round. That way I know I'm not slacking as we go through and get too distracted. 3, 2, 1, and relax. We're going to be moving on to our squat to press. I'm not going to use any of our hand weights this time. Again, you don't need to. So again, when we go through this, I'm just going to be using just my hands. If you want to use water bottles, cans of soup, if you have dumbbells or hand weights, or anything else that's going to be heavy, feel free to use that. But here we go. Again. This will be our last time doing these. Let's make sure it's a good effort. keep going. One more. Good. Let's move over to those leg lifts. We got about 5 seconds, and then we're going. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Again, we're going to do 20 seconds on that one side. So you're really going to feel this right where you would almost put your wallet in your back pocket. Where your back pocket would be if you're wearing a pair of jeans, right where you want to kind of feel a little squeeze there. Awesome, let's switch to the other side. Sometimes the longer you hold that out, the more challenging that can be. So we can either go for more repetitions, or we go for what we call time under tension. The longer that muscle is squeezed. And relax. All right, team, we have made it through our first circuit. Our lower body's checked off. We're all good to go with that. We're just that much closer to the weekend. What we're going to be moving on to now is going to be our upper body. What we're going to do is I'm going to run through each one of these movements just to demo them, and then I'm going to give you a quick water break at the end just so that you can grab any equipment that you might need. Again, obviously, grab a sip of water, but obviously, just sit back and relax and watch me as I go through this. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to my producer. I'll make sure that I get them answered before we go into our next section. What we're going to be going through here is going to be, again, another 3 movements. We're going to be doing our bent over row and our dumbbell kickbacks on both arms. So for this, again, having some sort of weighted bands is going to be helpful when we go through this. For my weight here, what I'm going to be using here is just going to be my book bag that I'm going to load up. Like I said, these are really, really nice. This can be a drawstring bag. This can be anything that you might have, maybe even a purse. Again, if you want to put a book in there, maybe a little bit of water or a gallon of water like I'm going to be using, that all does a really, really good job of making sure this is decently heavy. For this, again, I'm just going to throw my gallon of water in here. And then for this, all we're going to be doing here is going to be our bent over row. So for this, I'm going to grab my book bag on either side, and then for this, I'm going to bend over just so my chest is about a 45-degree angle with the ground, and that weight here is just right at my knees. My weight should almost be right at my knees. I'm just going to grow that weight right up to my chest, and then bring that right back down. And again, I want to keep my chest tall, I want to keep my shoulder blades back, I want to keep my chest proud. So like I always say, if I have this AARP logo on my shirt, if somebody's standing in front of me, they should be able to see that. So again, just right up to the rib cage and right back down. Now, if we are just going to be using water bottles, that works out well too. All we're going to be able to do is just going to be right here using our water bottles, or again, if we have hand weights or anything else, you can roll right up and right back down. Now, if you have bands and you just have some laying around your house, we can totally use those also. And for those, all we're going to do is we're going to step on them just like so. And again, we can just do that same row here with that band. Again, if we want to make it easier, we can just do it with one foot, just like that. And if you want to make it a little bit harder, just move those bands wider. For our next movement, which we're going to be, it's going to be a unilateral movement, meaning we're going to do one side then the other. We're going to do our dumbbell kickbacks. So for this, all we're going to be looking for is that extending motion on those dumbbell, or it's going to be on that my tricep here, the back of that arm. So for this, we're going to find a couch, maybe the back of a sofa, chair, whatever that is, like about maybe knee height, maybe a little bit higher, whatever you feel comfortable resting on. And then all we're going to do here, we're just going to do that little kickback motion. I believe that we did this during the first week. So again, I'm keeping the same with my thumbs up and just again pulling that dumbbell back and coming right back through. My elbow is not moving at all. Excuse me. That elbow is staying locked out as we move back and forth as we go through that. If you want to use something a little bit heavier, feel free to. If you're really, really strong, you can totally use a gallon of water as you go through. If you have dumbbells, you can totally use those or hand weights. That works out really, really well too. And again, if you have a small band, you can totally wrap that around the leg of a chair and use that as you go through. But again, just like I always say, if just make sure it's challenging for you. It should be something that is tough to accomplish during that 40 seconds, but it should be something you know you're going to be able to do safely. Okay, so definitely find that line between challenging and safe. All right. Again, I'm going to give you 60 seconds here to get any equipment that you might need to together. I'm going to kind of reorganize your room, or obviously to grab a sip of water. I'm going to see you back here in 60 seconds. We're going to get started with Who's Better Works. See you then. All right, we're going to be heading back into our upper body circuit here. Again, we're going to get going right away. Before we do, I just want to give a quick reminder, we're going to be back on Facebook on next Tuesday, so please make sure you find that link in the document section, and you can find everything that you need right there. But again, after we get done this, you can kind of go through that. But we're going to get this thing started here with our benefit rows. So whether you're using water bottles, whether you're using bands, whether you're using a small book bag, maybe a drawstring bag, whatever kind you have laying around the house, let's get the thing started. We're going to start this here in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Remember, my back is staying nice and flat as I go through this. I want to make sure I'm not rounding over at all. But again, my chest is staying nice and tall there. And again, I'm just thinking about bringing that weight right up to the bottom of my rib cage and coming right back down. My elbows are staying somewhat in as I go through, just like this. This is really good for both our core and obviously our arms and our back. It almost kind of acts like a plank because we're going to bend over as we go through it. Back kind of has to do the work very, very similar way in a plank. We can relax it. I'm going to start off with my right arm. If you want to start off with your left arm, you can feel free to do so. Or just quick pass. So for this, we're going to go here in 3, 2, 1. And again, just with a small weight, if you have a band, or even if you just want to use the weight of your arms, feel free to do that. Just again, keep that elbow in place. The only thing that's going to be moving is that forearm and that weight of that water bottle, whatever you kind of have. We're going to be going here for 40 seconds. As many repetitions as you can. Try to give like a 1 second hold at the top. So 1,000, and then come back down. We have about another 10 seconds here. Let's keep it going. Good. Go here. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Let's switch over to the other side. Same deal. We're going to just be using that water bottle. I'm going to move over my left arm. And again, we're going to go here in about 10 seconds. Just keeping that elbow nice and locked out. Trying to feel a little bit of stress, a little bit of burn there in the back of that tricep. Here we go. Keep it going here. We've got another 20 seconds worth of work. Keep it moving. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right. Round 1 is down. We've got 2 more of those to go. So we're making our way back for those bends over rows. We're going to go here in 3, 2, 1. Let's pick up whatever heavy book bag or whatever you're going to have, and let's get after it. So again, my back is actually flat. I'm just moving that weight right off that rib cage, keeping those elbows in, slight bend in the knee. If you need to take a break as we go through, feel free to take a little break. Obviously, get right back to it when you're ready. Like I kind of said before, try to see if you can match the repetitions. So if you did 6 repetitions before during the first round, you can do another 6. If you did 8, try to do another 8. 3, 2, and relax. All right, we're going to do the same thing with those kickbacks. So again, find that chair, back of the sofa, wherever you're going to use to kind of like rest that one arm, so we can kind of stabilize and really focus on that other arm. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Just like that. Good. Ten more seconds. I want to keep it going. If you find more of a burn by holding it there for longer, then do it. If you find more of a burn by doing more repetitions, do that. And let's switch. So again, quick 20-second break. We're moving on to the opposite arm here. All right, 3, 2, 1, here we go. And as you go through this, find whatever stance here that's going to be comfortable for you, especially if you're kind of on a weird object. Sometimes I like to kind of be a little staggered here. But again, whatever feels comfortable for you. The most important thing is that that arm here is getting work, the elbow staying still, getting a little squeeze there. Really try to squeeze it hard as we go through. Keep it nice and controlled, not trying to take anything, swing or anything like that. Slow, controlled, squeezing that tricep hard at the end. Awesome, relax there. We got one more round of each one of these movements, and then we're going to be moving on to our third and final circuit, our core section. All right? So again, stay with me. We're going to be moving back over to that bend over row. So let's again go to that drawstring bag. Let's go to our book bag. Let's go back to our dumbbells, hand weights. Or again, if we're not going to be using anything at all, feel free to do so. But here we go. Another 40 seconds worth of work. This is going to be the last round on this bend over row. So again, try to make sure that people have a tendency to kind of lift themselves up a little bit more and more as they go through. Really try to stay bow forward. Again, that torso should be about 45 degrees with that ground. So you're kind of down here at the bottom, like the wrist should be right at the same line as that elbow. Kind of notice where I'm at there, at the bottom of my lockdown. Again, if you want to get that little squeeze there at the top, shoulder blades down and back. And relax. All right, we're moving back to this kickbacks here. This will be our last time with this arm, so let's make sure it's a good one. We're going to be going here in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. And squeeze that hard and make sure that elbow stays nice and locked in the body, does not move. Really going for that excruciatingly slow. Got another 5 seconds. Let's get another 2 in. 1 and 2. Awesome. All right, let's move off to the other side. Again, this will be our last time doing this, and this will be finishing our upper body section here. Got 10 seconds before we go. 3, 2, 1, and here it is. And squeeze it hard there. One more seconds, keep it going. Got 15 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right. Good work there, team. We are done with our upper body section. What we're going to be moving on to now is just going to be our lower body section, which we're going to be doing again 2 different movements, but 3 different rounds, very kind of similar to what we just did. Right now, again, you can kind of relax, grab a little drink. I'm going to go through each one of them. If you want to be able to, again, reorganize the room, grab any extra equipment or whatever, feel free to do that. But what we're going to be going through here first is just going to be our sit-up, and I'm going to show you some variations for this to make this a little bit easier. So we're going to find a nice, comfortable spot, back down to the floor. And for this sit-up, what I like to do is I typically like to move my knees out just a little bit to allow myself to go through this and get a good, safe range of motion. All we're going to do is we're going to reach forward, touching our toes, and then coming right back down. If that is going to be challenging for you, one thing that can be helpful is either putting your feet underneath the sofa, or again, like something to kind of grab your feet there. Some people might do that with weights. Obviously, I can use my hook down here, kind of hold my feet down as I go through that, and that can make that just a little bit more challenging there. Right? You don't need to keep your hands crossed or behind your head. I like to, again, just touch my toes, kind of come back. If you want to come back and touch the floor, and then come through, feel free to do so. Okay? Now for this also, if you're, again, just really struggling there, just really not being able to get that, we can just go through a little crunch, which is again just coming up and then coming right back down. Coming up and coming back down. Or, again, if you're kind of getting a couple, but you may maybe stringing more than 3 or 4 together is challenging, you can totally grab the back of your leg and use that. Or again, if you have like a seat or something else to kind of grab onto to help you with that, sometimes that helps too. So again, if you know more than 3 or 4 might be a challenge, maybe have something nearby just kind of hold on to as you go through that and make it a little bit easier, right? So again, there's a lot of different variations. We can do this without anything. We can put our feet under a sofa, or again, under something to kind of hold them in place, whether that's weights. Obviously, we can use props to help us out, or even our own body to help us out there. Okay. Now, for our second and our third movement, what we're going to go through is just going to be side bends, and we're just going to be right on the floor, laying just like this, guys. So again, as if we're just relaxing here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to squeeze our body up and then come right back down. Again, you can use this other hand on the floor to help you up with this. But again, squeeze and then come right back down. We'll do 40 seconds on the one side, 40 seconds on that other side. If you're just able just to get just your hips off the ground, you still have to keep your knees on the ground, that works out fine too. So again, if you're just right here, that works out fine. If you can get your whole body off the ground, that works even better. Okay, so again, easy version, knees on the ground, or that hard version, coming all the way off the ground. And again, you can take your hand off the floor to make that even more challenging right there. And we'll flip around and go on the other side. So obviously, again, if you need to grab anything that's going to make this more comfortable for you, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're going to be back here in 60 seconds, grab a drink of water, and I'll see you then.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing some technical difficulties. Please hold on.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to be back, and we're going to get right into it since you have a little bit longer break than normal. Just remember, we're going to be moving first onto our setups, and then we're going to be moving on to that side plank, side plank crunch. All right. So again, let's bring ourselves back down to the floor, find something that's nice and comfortable, and we're going to get started with this. In 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So again, if you want to touch those toes, feel free to do so. Again, if you just want to come forward and touch your knees, feel free to do so too. If you want to, again, be able to use the back of your legs to be able to get up on top of those toes so we can go through this. Okay, about another 20 seconds worth of work, just like before. First, set here. So then when we come back to it, we know for that second and third round what we should be aiming for. So obviously feel this through the front of your abs. And relax. 40 seconds down. We're going to move off to the side here. Again, one elbow is going to be down on the floor. We can stabilize with that other hand right here. And then that foot is just going to be on the floor. We're just going to do that little side crunch. Going here at 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Again, lifting the hips off the floor, coming right back down. Lifting the hips off the floor, coming right back down. It's pretty obvious where this is going to be working. It's obviously going to be working at least the side of the abs. This is a really great and important kind of movement to kind of build. This is it helps us get off the floor, helps us build up strength. So again, if we ever do happen in a sticky situation, we're that much stronger and able to get out of it. I'm going to switch over to the other side.
Hey, Nick, the audio seems to be a little bit garbled. Let's take a quick pause and see if we can reset just for a second.
Absolutely. Make sure we're all connected here. Alright, let's try to get right back to this. So again, we're going to be back into the sit-ups here. We're going to do a quick 20-second break, and we're going to be right back into it. Again, I apologize for any of the inconvenience. We're just having a little bit of technical difficulty. But here we go. We're going to be back on the that foot bag is going to be right on this feet. We're going to get going from there. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So again, just coming through. If you're not able to do that full sit-up, and just give that little crunch right up to the knees. Come right back down, right to the knees. Come right back down. If we can't do that full movement, if we're able to do that full movement, let's do that. We have 20 seconds. So again, partial is completely fine if that's all you're able to do. If you're just able to get this far, that works too. Again, you can totally go around the legs. I just feel like I just feel a little bit more comfortable going through my knees as I go through. Awesome. Relax here. We're going to be moving on to that side crunch again. So like I said, one elbow is going to be down the ground. Use that other arm to support. If you're feeling really, really good, you don't have to. But again, let's use that other arm to support. We're going to go here at 3, 2,
1, just giving that little side crunch. Again, you can see some of the hips being used as we go through this. Obviously, there's abs on either side. So that transverse abdominis, that obliques. So we go through, give me another 15 seconds. See if we can get another 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Awesome. Let's flip over to that other side. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Again, just driving the hip up to the ceiling, coming right back down. If you feel really strong with this, like I said, we don't need to use that one hand, and we need to hold that up there just a little bit longer to give that like a 1, 2, 3 second squeeze as we go through. And you should feel this a lot through the sides of the abs. So obliques, I'm getting fired up. Again, go at your own pace. We're down here in 2, 1. And we're going to move to one final round of those sit-ups. So again, let's get resituated for that. And we'll get going from there. Three, 2, 1, and here we go. Coming through, touching those toes, coming right back down. Stay with it. Like I said, if you can't do that full range of motion, it's completely fine. Just go right to the knees. Go as far as you can. Because again, as long as we feel that burn through those abs, we're staying here. Feel like we're getting a workout in, and it is working. Give me 3, 2, and relax. We're all done with those sit-ups. We got 2 more minutes of those side crunches, and we're done for the day. All right, so again, back on our sides. One hand is planted into the ground. 3, 2, and here we go. And driving that hip up to the ceiling and coming right back down. We got 20 more seconds. Doesn't need to be super high, just as high as you can go. We got 10 more seconds. Stay with it. 3, 2, and relax. Let's move over to that other side. All right. 2, 1, here it is. Just another 25 more seconds left in today. See if we can hold on for it. Stay with it. 15 seconds. See if you give me another 3 of those. 3, 2, 1, and relax. We are all done for the day. Congratulations. You should feel good about yourself. We've made it through both our lower body circuit, our upper body circuit, finally, our core. You did awesome. No matter what pace that you went through. And again, don't be afraid to recycle these movements by yourself. As long as you felt good, feel free you go through. So make sure you pick up with a good form. You can obviously look back to it to make sure you're staying safe. Quick reminder, so we have a document section here in the bottom there where you're able to access some just a little bit of nutrition information. During the first 2 weeks of this program, we really talked a lot about veggies, but now we're really talking a lot more about protein. This is definitely something that's very, very relevant for older adults, since many of them tend to get less protein than is necessary to obviously maintain a healthy lifestyle. So I highly encourage you to take a look through that. And in that document section, you're going to see a lot of different ways to raw cook our protein. So obviously, as you go through, not necessarily if you're a little bit time crunched, where you don't have time every single evening to go and to cook for 30 minutes. It's a great way to prep things ahead of time. So that way, all you got to do is zap it in the microwave. You know you're getting something super duper healthy. So again, I encourage you to take a look at that. Obviously, eat protein with every single meal as you go through the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And obviously, just trying to maybe around a gram of protein per pound of body weight as you go through the day. It's typically a good benchmark to kind of go through, which it typically also can be very challenging. So, anyways, don't forget that we're going to be back here Tuesday at 5:30. We'll be on Facebook Live for that. So please make sure you take a look at the document section there. Hopefully we won't have any more technical difficulties. But until then, stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you then. Bye.
Hey, Nick, can you hear me?